The Devil's Disciples Motorcycle Club had seen their share of strange things, fights, fires, and even the occasional bar brawl that made headlines. But none of those moments compared to the night a skinny, bruised little boy walked up to their table and begged to be arrested. It was a quiet evening at Murphy's Diner, the kind of place where the air smelled of fried onions and black coffee. 15 bikers in leather vests crowded around 2 pushed-together tables, eating dinner after a long ride. The door creaked open, and a small figure stepped in, barefoot, clothes torn, eyes wide with fear. The child walked straight toward them. "Please," he said, voice trembling but determined, "arrest me right now." The room went silent. Forks froze midair. Every tattooed face turned toward the boy. Big Tom, the club president, a mountain of a man with a graying beard, leaned forward. "What's your name, son?" "Marcus," the boy whispered. "Marcus," Tom said gently. "Why do you want to be arrested?" "Because I stole something really bad," Marcus replied, pulling a half-melted candy bar from his pocket. "And criminals go to jail." The bikers exchanged looks. There was no smirk, no laughter, only a sinking feeling that this was about something far darker than a candy bar. Big Tom lowered his voice. "When's the last time you ate, Marcus?" The boy frowned, counting on his fingers. "Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. For days. For days." Razor, the club's enforcer, growled. "Why haven't you eaten in 4 days?" Marcus stared at the floor. "Can't say." "Why not?" Big Tom asked softly. "Because if I tell you," Marcus said, eyes glistening, "you might feed me, and then I can't go to jail where they give you 3 meals every day." The words hit like a sledgehammer. A child begging for prison because it was the only place he knew he'd be fed. Big Tom swallowed hard. "Where are your parents, Marcus?" The boy hesitated. "My dad died in Afghanistan when I was 5. The room shifted. Every biker there knew what that meant. A Gold Star kid, the son of a fallen soldier. Razor's voice softened. "And your mom?" "She married Derek," Marcus said, his small voice breaking. "He doesn't like me much." Big Tom saw the bruises and, not the kind kids get from rough housing, but the kind made by grown men with cruel hands. "Did Derek do that to you?" he asked, pointing at the boy's black eye. Marcus didn't answer. He didn't have to. His silence said everything. "Where's Derek now?" Razor asked, cracking his knuckles. "At home with Mom," Marcus whispered. "He said if I came back, he'd hurt me worse." 15 bikers went still. Rage simmered behind every stare. A man who beat a soldier's widow and her son was the kind of man the Devil's Disciples had no mercy for. "How long have you been on the streets?" Big Tom asked. 2 days, Marcus admitted. "I slept behind a gas station dumpster." Big Tom made a choice right then, one that would change everything. "Okay, Marcus," he said solemnly. "We'll arrest you, but first we got to follow procedure." Marcus blinked. "What procedure?" "Well," Tom said, trying to smile, "every criminal gets a last meal before jail. It's the law." He looked at the waitress. "Bring this dangerous outlaw the biggest cheeseburger you've got. Fries, a milkshake, and pie. We're talking death row size." Marcus's eyes lit up like Christmas morning. As the boy ate, shoveling food into his mouth like a starving wolf, Big Tom quietly made a series of phone calls. "Snake," he said into the phone, "I need a background check on a guy named Derek. Married a war widow with a kid named Marcus. Fast." Snake was the club's information man, ex-IT tech, current legend in digital digging. Within minutes, Snake called back. "Got him," Snake said. "Derek Thompson. Married Angela Williams 2 years ago. Her first husband, Sergeant Marcus Williams. Kia in Kandahar. Address, 4827 Oak Street, 10 minutes away. And listen to this. 2 prior arrests for domestic violence with his ex-wife. Charges dropped both times." Big Tom's jaw tightened. His knuckles turned white around his phone. "So he's a repeat abuser." "Yeah," Snake replied. "Looks like it." Tom looked across the table at the little boy now wiping his face with a napkin, belly full for the first time in days. "Thanks, brother," he said and hung up. Marcus looked up timidly. Am I going to jail now? Soon, Big Tom said, forcing a smile. But first we've got to get your stuff from home. Marcus froze. No, he whispered. Derek will hurt you too. 15 bikers burst out laughing. Let him try, Razor said darkly. Minutes later, engines thundered across the night as 15 Harley-Davidsons roared down Main Street. Marcus rode with Big Tom, wearing a helmet so big it nearly swallowed him. His small hands gripped the president's leather vest as they approached a small house with an American flag in the window, a flag that once honored a hero. Big Tom dismounted and knocked politely. The door swung open. Derek Thompson appeared, unshaven, reeking of beer and cigarettes. Yeah, he slurred. We're returning Marcus, Big Tom said calmly. Derek's bloodshot eyes darted past the bikers and locked on the boy. That little brat finally came back. He snarled, stepping forward. He didn't make it far. Big Tom caught Derek's wrist mid-grab and squeezed until bones popped. Derek yelped in pain. Let's talk privately, Big Tom said in a voice that made it clear this wasn't optional. Angela appeared in the doorway. The bruises on her arms and the fear in her eyes told the rest of the story. Marcus, she cried, reaching for him. But Marcus flinched away. You picked him over Daddy, he whispered. Those 6 words shattered her. Tears streamed down her face. Derek sneered. Get off my property before I call the cops. Please do, Big Tom said, calm as ever. I'd love to explain how you've been beating a Gold Star widow and her son. Derek paled. You can't prove anything. Actually, Snake said, stepping forward with his phone. We can. He hit play. Marcus's small voice filled the air, describing every bruise, every hit, every threat. Dates and details matching Derek's own record. You like hurting kids? Razor growled, taking a step forward. Derek panicked and swung at Big Tom. The punch never landed. Tom caught his fist, twisted his arm behind his back, and slammed him against the wall with one hand. You like hitting someone your own size? Tom asked coldly. Please don't hurt him. Angela begged. He'll be worse after you leave. That stopped Big Tom cold. She was right. They couldn't just scare him and walk away. They had to end it. Tom turned to her. Pack your things. You and Marcus are leaving. Now. I can't, Angela said, trembling. I have nowhere to go. Yes, you do, came a new voice. Everyone turned. A woman in military dress uniform stood at the edge of the yard, her posture straight, her expression fierce. I'm Sergeant Lisa Martinez, she said. I served with your husband in Afghanistan. Angela gasped. Marcus talked about you. He said you. He saved my life in Kandahar, Lisa said softly, and I've been looking for his family for 2 years. Her eyes locked on Derek. And this is what I find? The wife of a fallen hero, covered in bruises, and his son starving on the streets. Derek's smirk faltered. He opened his mouth to say something, but Lisa's glare cut him down to silence. Marcus Williams was a hero, she said sharply. He died protecting people like you, and you repay his sacrifice by abusing his family? Derek took a step back. You don't know what you're talking about. Before he could finish, 3 bikers closed in behind him. Snake, Razor, and Tank boxed him in like wolves cornering prey. Big Tom crossed his arms. Here's what's going to happen, Derek. Angela and Marcus are leaving, and you're never seeing them again. You can't kidnap my wife, Derek barked, trying to sound brave, but his voice cracked. Lisa let out a bitter laugh. Your wife? You mean Sergeant Marcus Williams' widow, the woman you've been using for money? She reached into her pocket and pulled out her phone. I've got 20 members of your late husband's unit ready to testify about what kind of man he was and what kind of man you are. Angela's face crumpled. You married me for money, she whispered. Derek didn't answer. His silence said everything. A car door shut behind them. A tall man in a gray suit walked up the driveway, calm and confident. James Patterson, he said, flashing an ID. Attorney for the Veterans Legal Foundation. We protect Gold Star families. He handed Derek a thick envelope, restraining order, effective immediately. Derek snatched the papers, his eyes scanning the text. This says I have to leave my house. It's not your house, Patterson said flatly. It's Angela's, paid for by her late husband's military life insurance. You've been living here illegally and fraudulently claiming benefits that aren't yours. Every biker grinned. Snake even let out a low whistle. The truth came out like oil spilling across water, ugly and undeniable. Derek had married Angela for the payout, the benefits, the insurance, and then isolated her so no one could intervene. Big Tom grabbed him by the collar. You got 5 minutes to pack and leave, or what? Derek spat. Razor cracked his knuckles. Or we come back when there aren't any witnesses. Derek looked around at 15 pairs of eyes that promised he'd regret testing them. He bolted inside, shoving clothes into a trash bag, and moments later tore out of the driveway in a rusted pickup truck. Angela sank to her knees on the porch, sobbing. I dishonor my husband's memory. I should have known. Lisa knelt beside her, voice soft but strong. No, you were grieving, vulnerable. He preyed on that. You didn't dishonor anyone. Marcus stood frozen, tears streaking the dirt on his face. Then he ran into his mother's arms. I'm sorry, Mom, he choked out. No, she said, holding him tight. I'm sorry I didn't protect you. The bikers turned away, pretending to wipe dust from their eyes. Where will we go now? Angela asked. Lisa smiled gently. There's a housing program for Gold Star families. They'll take care of you both. Full support, counseling, everything. Angela shook her head. Why didn't I know about that? Because Derek kept you isolated. Patterson said grimly. It's what abusers do. But he can't anymore. Big Tom knelt in front of Marcus. You're the bravest kid I've ever met. Marcus looked down. I'm not brave. I ran away. Big Tom's rough hand settled on the boy's shoulder. Running from danger to find help isn't cowardice. Son, it's survival. Smart survival. Marcus's lip trembled. My dad would be ashamed of me. Lisa took out her phone and showed him a photo. A smiling soldier in desert fatigues, arm around his squad. Your dad once told me his biggest fear wasn't dying. It was leaving you unprotected. She looked around at the bikers, leather vests, tattoos, steel chains glinting under the porch light. I think he'd be proud. You found protectors. Marcus nodded slowly. Are you really going to arrest me for stealing? Big Tom pretended to think. Yep, stealing's a serious crime. But I'll tell you what. Instead of jail, your sentence is community service. Marcus frowned. What kind of community service? Every Sunday, Big Tom said solemnly, you wash motorcycles at our clubhouse. Learn how engines work. Maybe we'll even teach you to ride someday. Marcus's eyes went wide. That's not jail. Big Tom grinned. It's better than jail. You get to hang out with good people who've got your back. Marcus smiled for the first time that night. Can I bring my mom? Your mom's welcome any time, Big Tom said, and the other bikers nodded in agreement. That very night, the Devil's Disciples helped Angela and Marcus move into a furnished apartment the Veterans Foundation provided. Clean, safe, stocked with food, and guarded by quiet dignity. But the bikers didn't stop there. Word spread fast across the underground. Within a week, every biker club in 3 states knew the name Derek Thompson and what he'd done. No one would give him shelter, work, or peace. Marcus started his community service. The following Sunday, he arrived shy and quiet, but soon laughter echoed through the clubhouse as 30 bikers showed him how to polish chrome and check oil pressure. They taught him what real men were, not the kind who raised fists, but the kind who raised others up. Angela began counseling, slowly finding strength in her voice again. She joined a Gold Star Wives support group and became a mentor for other widows facing abuse and manipulation. 6 months later, on Veterans Day, downtown streets were lined with flags and roaring engines. Angela and Marcus stood among the crowd as hundreds of bikes rolled past in formation. Shining chrome, roaring engines, leather vests with patches gleaming in the sun. Big Tom stopped his Harley right in front of them and reached into his vest pocket. Got something for you, kid. He handed Marcus a small object, a set of tarnished dog tags. Angela gasped. "Those are your father's. Derek sold them years ago." Big Tom smiled. "We have our ways." Marcus clutched the tags to his chest, tears welling up. "My dad was a hero," he said softly. Big Tom's voice rumbled low. "So, are you Marcus? You saved yourself and your mom by asking for help when it mattered." The boy looked up. "Will Derek ever come back?" Razor shook his head. "Never. We made sure of that." And they had. Months later, news broke that Derek Thompson had been arrested 2 states away, charged with fraud and domestic violence against another military widow. This time, he didn't get out. 15 years in prison. And even behind bars, word traveled. Inmates had their own code, and men who hurt women or children weren't treated kindly. As for Marcus, he still showed up every Sunday. Not because he had to, but because he wanted to. He washed bikes, laughed with the guys, learned how to rebuild engines. The clubhouse became his second home. He grew taller, stronger, more confident. The bruised little boy who once begged to be arrested had found something better than a cell. He'd found a family. Angela found peace too. She framed her late husband's photo beside Marcus's school picture, both wearing matching smiles. Sometimes she'd see the roar of engines pass by her window, and she'd smile, because she knew her husband's brothers-in-arms were still watching over them. The devil's disciples hadn't just saved Marcus that night. Marcus had saved them too, reminded them that under the leather, the scars and the noise, they still had hearts capable of protecting innocence. That was real brotherhood, real justice, real family. And that's what bikers do when a child needs heroes. They become them.